welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. So real quick, I kind of wanted to I'm adding this on to another video, or just actually in general, but I think I mentioned to you guys before about my friend's candles, Wandering Star candles. Well, I did mention I was getting some new ones, and I kind of wanted to do like an unboxing, if you will, of the said candles. So I'm going to unbox it real quick. And it's fresh and citrus. So I want to smell what it smells like real quick. Oh, and by the way, these are all the candles are 100% soy based. Oh, this is giving. It's Forest Zen, which we might be doing that when we do our practice. Definitely ready. I definitely want to debut that during a yoga practice. I feel like it's woodsy and herbal. So yeah, it's definitely the ambiance I'm looking for when I do yoga. Oh yeah. We're going to be using this one next. We will be using this one next. The rose is floral and musk. So let's see what this one smells like. Oh, they all smell so good. So good. And you smell it right when you open it. So, and hi, this looks like Cardi with the braids. This looks like Cardi took the stage. Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. If you've seen my previous video I posted, you know why. You know what it is. You know what it is. You know why the hair is looking this way right now. Actually, I kind of high-key just want to just go outside like this because, I mean, it's looking cute. It's nice and protected, and I don't know. It's giving, I don't remember if that's Queen Latifah's character's name. I think it's Cleo from Set It Off. It's giving, I'm about to rob a bank. That's the energy it's giving. Anyway, that's not what I'm going to do. Clearly, no. But, that's not what we're here for. This is your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and we are getting back into the Get Fit With Me series, Yoga Edition, and we are on day 29. So we got one more after this. I didn't check to see what the practice is, and yeah, I do know it's about 24 minutes, and we're just going to really much get into it. But before we do that, I do want to give a special shout out to my bestie, who also has the candle business. He has been posting my videos, shouting them out, all that good stuff for me. You know, of course, sharing the knowledge of his wonderful candles. And of course, his candle is going to be featured in this video. It's called Forest Zen. It's actually kind of the one that gets you nice and just the smell and the ambiance of it is definitely very much chill, very much yoga friendly, and is one of like my favorite candles that I've used so far. I still have some of his other candles. I'm going to use those, you know, when I feel the vibes of it. But today we're going to go with that one again. But anyway, I hope you do enjoy the content, and we are going to get right into it. So I should mention one more thing. The routine that we're doing on day 29 is a part of that centered series. And I forgot to mention that earlier on. And it's called Pleasure. So we're going to get right to it. I just needed to add that in there. We are starting today's practice in a seated position. In the sky, and I give you my all, but now I see that you can never love me for me. I don't wanna give my all, put myself in your hands, to have you let me slip right through your fingers like sand. And I have been so caught up that I didn't even see that you could never love me. After being in a seated position for a couple of minutes, we are still going to be in seated position, but we're just going to start stretching and just getting ready to get things moving. Prior to that, being in the C position, we were just working on our breathing and kind of getting us ready for the practice.
No, the roses never blow. No, the roses never blow. Something in me told me we'd be walking on thin glass, but I just continued on a fall, stepping over every crack, and I got bruised, I had slipped, I'd fallen to my knees, and you were ice to the touch, and I will love you till I
From the seated position, we go onto all fours and tabletop, doing cat-cow.
And it wasn't good enough. We had tried to make this garden for two, but you had brought the cold and the roses never blew. The roses never blow. We were built to last, a permanent high, colliding like the stars in the sky. And I give you my all, but now I see that you could never love me for me.
After doing kind of a cat-cow, and then also doing a little bit of freestyle with some figure eights, and just moving the hips around, being in all fours, we are now moving to downward facing dog.
I didn't even see that you could never love me for me. 'Cause you mold me into something else, change me into what you want. All I ever did was love, and it wasn't good enough.
From downward facing dog, we're going to make our way to the front of the mat in the downward forward bend.
And the roses never bloom. No, the roses never blow. No, the roses never blow.
From the downward forward bend, we are going to root to rise and kind of do the sequence where you do the airplane arms and then also just the root to rise. So just a simple kind of sun salutation sequence, like the standing part of that.
I'd fallen to my knees, and you were ice to the touch, and I will love you till I freeze. But you mold me into something else, change me You know what you want, all I ever did was love, and it wasn't good enough. We had tried to make this garden for two, but you had brought the cold and the roses never bloomed. The roses never bloom. No, the roses never bloom. No, the roses never bloom. No, the roses never bloom.
After doing kind of a standing twist, well, a standard forward bend twist on both sides, kind of alternating, we are now transitioning back over to a vinyasa. So from plank to either your choice of an upward facing dog or cobra to downward facing dog.
Like the stars in the sky, and I give you my all, but now I see that you could never love me for me. I don't wanna give my all, put myself in your hands, to have you let me slip right through your fingers like sand. And I have been so caught up that I didn't even see that you could never.
After ending up in another
me
downward facing
from
dog,
me.
we are moving back to the front of the mat in a standard forward bend. And yep, that's next.
And it wasn't good enough. We had tried to make this garden for two, but you had brought the cold and the roses never bloom.
Basically, once we get to the downward forward bend, we're basically repeating the sequence that we did before again. And now we're back transitioning over to from the downward forward bend to a vinyasa if you're choosing. Yeah. From the downward facing dog, we're going to do a three-legged dog into a forward lunge or a low lunge. And from there, that's when we're going to start incorporating a warrior two pose.
I had slipped, I'd fallen to my knees, and you were ice to the touch, and I will love you till I freeze. But you moved me into something else, changed me.
In this warrior two pose, we're kind of playing with it a little bit, where we go from the forward leg being bent to it being straight.
But you had brought the cold and the roses never bloom.
Once we do that on the one side, we're going to then go back to a plank pose and do a vinyasa of your choosing to downward facing dog. And we're going to transition and basically do the same thing what we just did, just on the opposite side.
built to last, a permanent high, colliding like the stars in the sky. And I give you my all, but now I see that you could never love me for me. I don't wanna give my all, put myself in your hands.
After we complete the sequence on both sides, we are going to go back to a plank pose, and then from the plank pose we're going to start playing around doing a side plank pose, whichever form of doing that you're choosing. I did it one way on one side and then kind of a different way on the opposite side, but I guess it honestly just depends on your own strength.
Ever did was love, and it wasn't good enough. We had tried to make this garden for two, but you had brought the cold and the
After we do the side plank pose on both sides, we go back to just your regular plank to an extended child's pose as a resting pose. From the extended child's pose, we're going to go back to a downward facing dog, and then from that to a three-legged dog, basically to repeat the sequence where we go to warrior two, and then we're going to add more steps to it, basically. I'm doing the same thing on both sides.
Something in me told me we'd be walking on thin glass, but I just continued on a fall, stepping over every crack, and I got bruised. I had slipped, I'd fallen to my knees, and you were ice to the touch, and I will love you till I freeze. But you mold me into something else, change me into what you want. All I ever did was love, and it wasn't good enough. We had tried to make this garden for two, but you had brought the cold, and the roses never bloomed. The roses never bloom. The roses never bloom. The roses never bloom. The roses never bloom.
After the new twist of doing the warrior two pose on both sides with a wide-legged standard forward bend with a twist on each side, we are now in a star pose. We are a star over here.
In the sky, and I give you my all, but now I see that you could never love me for me. I don't wanna give my all, put myself in your
From the star
hands.
pose, we're going to do a twist on both sides, basically kind of using our shoulders to guide us through this twist.
And I have been so caught at that, I didn't even see that you could never love me for me. 'Cause you mold me into something else, change me into what you want. All I ever did was love.
From there, we're going to do kind of a, not really a huge squat, but a little bit of a squat, where we basically do some foot play, where we, kind of move our heels, or actually go on our tippy toes on both sides. Again, some foot stretches.
Will the roses never blow?
From there, we're going to end up back in the star pose, and then from the star pose, going back to the back, well, this time to the back of the mat, and basically standing.
Something in me told me we'd be walking on thin glass.
From basically doing a mountain pose, actually kind of doing just an additional stretch where there's a back bend, we get back to a downward forward bend, but then we're moving our feet as wide as the yoga mat to prepare for a squat.
Something else changed me. You know what you want, all I ever did was love, and it wasn't good enough. We had tried to make this garden for two, but you had brought the cold and the roses never blew.
After being in a squat for about a minute, we are now going to kind of transition to a seated position where we are going to slowly get down to lying on our back. Prior to that, we are doing kind of a play on our core where we kind of lift our feet up one at a time, or if you want to do a full-on boat pose, go for it. One of the last things we do next before we do get to lying on our back, we're doing kind of like a stretch where we're massaging our hips, where we're basically holding our foot is kind of like a child, like so cradling it and then just kind of rocking back and forth on that hip. We're going to do that on both sides.
The stars in the sky, and I give you my all, but now I see that you could never love me for me. I don't wanna give my all, put myself in your hands, to have you let me slip right through your fingers like sand. And I have been so caught up that I didn't even see that you could never love me for me. 'Cause you mold me into something else, change me. You know what you want, all I ever did was love, and it wasn't good enough. We had tried to make this garden for two, but you had brought the cold and the roses never bloom. No, the roses never blow. No, the roses never blow. Something in me told me we'd be walking on thin glass, but I just continued on a fall, stepping over every crack, and I got bruised, I had slipped, I'd fallen to my knees, and you were ice to the touch, and I will love you till I freeze.
After we do that, we are finally at the point where we're lying on our backs, and we're going to do supine twists on each side to slowly basically conclude the practice.
But you had brought the cold and the roses never blew. The roses never blow. built to last, a permanent high, colliding like
Hi, so that concludes our yoga practice today. Pleasure. As you can tell, probably from watching the routine, I had a really good time with this one because it was more of a vinyasa, so it was much more enjoyable. A lot of warrior twos, and we all know I love my warrior poses, so that was awesome. And also, my cat was involved, per usual, so she made it extra challenging. But I will state this because I am rating this like I do for all of them, pretty much. Um, some of it did require some freestyling because she gave you options on what to do, especially towards the end, like that end sequence that I did after I did like a boat. And actually, you didn't even have to do a boat. I just decided I was going to because she had it where you could do kind of beginners that lead to that. But if you're someone who isn't as experienced at yoga, you definitely didn't have to go all in on the boat, especially if your core is not the strongest. But I was feeling it. I was nice and warmed up, so I wanted to do that. And I had a rest day yesterday, so I just really wanted to kind of get to it today. Also, once we were on our back after doing like the squat, that was another one of those things where there was some variation. So after the boat pose, so when we were basically, you could do either supine twist, and then I also squeezed in the happy baby. She kind of just said whatever you want to do towards the end, go ahead and do that, and then the transition to shavasana or the corpse pose. So that was nice too, because I kind of felt the freedom to kind of, mix it up towards the end. And yeah, so I like that. And she did kind of mention, and I will mention this too because I am familiar with her work. The last day for whenever she does these 30-day challenges, which is like the beginning of the new year. Pardon me, hiccups out of nowhere. Okay, we're good. Just one hiccup. That was random. But what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So towards the end, her very last one that she does every single time, she does have the option where, what's different about it is she doesn't narrate. So you just kind of watch her do it because she's actually practicing herself on that last day. So that is a little bit different. All right. So yeah, basically, I will rate this one, if it was from scale 1 to 10, I'll rate this about 8.5. It was 24 minutes. I felt the whole entire 24 minutes. And you were moving from jump and you transitioned very well. It was flowy, things that I look for, things that I personally like. I know my rating system is not going to be for everyone because it is subjective, but for me, my favorite type of yoga is flowy. So it doesn't necessarily have to be vinyasa, even though I prefer it. But I like it when like the different poses transition along in a flow, almost like you're doing a dance. So I did enjoy this because it kind of did that. And it didn't feel forced. It felt like it just all made sense. Things were tied together. I know the nature of some type of practices, that's just not a thing. So I'm not really knocking her or anything per se. I just know some forms of yoga, it's not flowy. But for me, that's my personal preference, and that's what I like. So I will rate this about an 8. But anyway, I hope you guys do check it out yourself and, continue the journey. We have one more left, and then we're going to start mixing and mastering and going to different content creators on YouTube and checking out their channels, see what they could have to offer. And hopefully you get inspired by this and you work out on your own too. Because one thing we did learn about the pandemic, or may not, so maybe I'm teaching you something and I don't know it. You don't need a gym. It's great to have a gym because don't get twisted, I do go to a gym. If you are afraid to go outside, you don't necessarily have to go outside. Although I do like going outside, clearly. Cheap plug for my Ready to Go Outside. Ready to Go Outside channel, playlist if you want to check that out. So we know I like to go outside. But yeah, so what I'm saying is, though, you can literally do a practice indoors, especially this day and age, because there's the internet and everything else that exists. You can either go old school and do some yoga DVDs, which I think I actually am going to incorporate in this, because I do have some old yoga DVDs before YouTube and all that existed. I've been doing yoga for a minute, so I will try to transition that in there, and I'll tell you who to go to. And you probably can still order that, or I think they even have it on like their website now, where you don't even have to like purchase a DVD, because I know that's definitely obsolete. But anyway, I say all that to just say, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and I will see you next time. Bye.